so much for showing up today and for choosing to trust us and share this experience with us. It's experience number 29 that we have conducted over the last 2 years. And the third one to be conducted by this interesting lady. And we have started the whole thing because of something. I'll try to simplify it as much as I could. Because we humans, irrespective of how much we are well educated and how many cultures we have explored and how many countries we have visited, we would still have limited knowledge about the otherness of others, about other people, So sometimes when we come across people who are different than us, we tend to ignore it, run away from it, and very rarely actually we accept it or embrace it or even try to learn from it. So our objective out of all the efforts is trying to hopefully change the mindset about the otherness of others. And when I say عن الآخر المختلف عني, okay, everything outside this frame, everything that comes across in a different way. So this is the whole idea. We do so by tapping into the personal culture, which is what we are made of, each one of us. Like, it doesn't make sense to have a general understanding about a certain culture and cascade that general understanding to the millions of people coming from that country. Each one of us is different than his or her siblings. So we have been designing a few experiences that have been actually kind of a testing field for us to get to explore that inner culture, that personal culture within each one of us. And because it's not easy for us to stand up and share who we are, what we're made of, we're trying to use simple items, physical items, through which we tap into who we are and what do they mean to us. So we started with food, and then we did something with herbs. Now we're designing something with arts and crafts. And tonight's experience is meant to get to know the personal culture of this lady who's coming from different countries, and she'll take us through the experience. It's a 2-hour experience. The first hour is basically the maestro, the experience leader, sharing with us a story that tells who they are. And in a response to that, we just also share a story of who we are. And then the second hour would be us diving into her personal culture more by sharing certain food items, what do they mean to her, where they're coming from, and so on. Okay? So over to you, lady.
Okay. So hi, everyone. First of all, welcome to my home. It's quite new for me. I just moved in here a couple of months ago. So I still, getting things ready and putting things up, but it's really my sort of dream space that I, wanted to have for the last 2 years in Dubai. So I have a lot of myself in this space, especially the kitchen. It's like so important to me to have this big open kitchen. It's, when you're in the kitchen, you're sharing with everyone in the dining room, in the living room, the whole space. So even just if you look around, you can kind of like see a bit of who I am, even if you don't know me. So my name is Liliana. I am from the US. I think that a lot of times Americans, when we're abroad, we encounter some ideas about ourselves, like Americans don't travel, Americans aren't cultured, Americans don't speak other languages.
True.
And it's funny to me to hear that, because obviously that person is talking to someone who does travel and someone who does speak other languages.
So many other languages.
Automatically, it's almost like you're telling me a stereotype, which I'm like maybe contradicting in a sense, but that person still believes that that's the real way of it, So I like to respectfully try to, change that stereotype that people have. I come from a family which, we all pretty much grew up in the US. My parents grew up in the US. I'm not really a child of immigrants, first generation, anything like that. However, both my parents, they did travel a lot growing up. They had that privilege to be able to travel a lot. My father lived in South America when he was growing up. My mother, she was able to study in Oxford and sort of travel when she was a bit older. And they met each other when they were quite a bit older, like 30, 40, when they had us. And my father, he's a professor of Italian literature. So even though he's not Italian at all, we have no Italian background, he chose to do that for his life. And because of that, we were lucky enough to live in Italy while I was quite young and learn Italian and that sparked a lot of this interest in traveling and learning other languages. It's kind of like when you go to university, what should you do? Like if you don't know what you want to study and you don't know what you want to do with your life, I just had this idea, okay, I speak Italian and I liked it, so khalas, I'll like, do more languages, why not? So I started to do Arabic and it took me all these amazing,
She
adventures.
speaks Arabic very well. And she speaks the Moroccan dialect.
Yes, my favorite dialect is Moroccan dialect.
No
really,
offense. It's okay. That's okay, I can live with that.
It's my second favorite is Palestinian.
Oh, okay. So relieving.
But yeah, I mean, I think really doing Arabic, it gave me all the opportunities that I had in my life, and I connect that to what my dad chose to do with his life, and how that pushed me to be traveling and learning Italian and eventually learning Arabic. So why I'm here in Dubai is that whole chain of story, Ended up here because I had been in the Middle East because I wanted to come back and had friends all around. So I'm here now. It's been like 2.5 years. I definitely feel like I take part of who I am from each place where I've lived, from Morocco to Jordan, to US, to Italy, to here. And as Asma said, I mean, in Dubai, we can struggle with connection and struggle with maybe breaking out of our bubbles and comfort zones, especially with our own nationality or our own work buddies or whoever that we spend time with. So this is such a great way of breaking out of that. So.
Thank you. So we have chosen a theme for sharing a story tonight, but you don't have to stick to it because I know it's not easy for us to share stories sometimes and open up.
I'll be right back.
So take your time. So I just thought let's explore when people have experienced some sort of unpleasant moments or some sort of discomfort when there was a certain stereotype that actually failed to define who they are. Okay, and I'll start by myself just to give you an example, but you don't have to follow, you just share an experience or a story of who you are, like something specific that would tell us about you as a human. So I'll share actually 2 stories, one of which I have experienced outside Palestine, and sorry I'm giving you my back. It's a bit higher than you guys, but this is the only available chair. So the first one happened in 2009 when I was pursuing my education in the UK, and that was the first experience for me to be living abroad away from the family. And I was 25 back then, and I was struggling with the worthiness of my story, who I am, and what does it mean to be Palestinian. And so when I went to the UK, the first 8 weeks I actually chose to hibernate. Hide from interacting with other people because I had no idea what to share with them. So when I started to share, and the first interesting question would come across as who you are, where you're coming from. Like the moment you say that you're coming from Palestine, the second question would be, how does it feel to live in Palestine? Tell us more about the occupation. And what if I don't feel like sharing the pain of occupation? What if I want to share the appetite for life? What if I want to share other aspects of, other aspects and other challenges of being a Palestinian? So that was, I have no idea why it annoys me. It's not like I'm judging people who are judging me because it doesn't make sense. If I'm asking people not to judge, it doesn't make sense that I judge them for judging me, but it still annoys me, So this is something I have stopped doing. Like even when you signed up for the experiences, I didn't ask people where you are, or I don't do this because I really want to know people for who they are. The other experience, interesting enough, happened in Palestine after I returned from the UK to Palestine. I'm coming from a small village in Palestine. So I went to the city for shopping. There was a lady who approached me and she's like, what's your name? So there's a thing back in Palestine where from the family name they can tell we're coming from the entire story, So I said Asma Ahmed, and Ahmed is a very common name, so she wasn't able to tell where I'm coming from. She didn't like it, so she's like, and you're not from this city, which is Nablus. I was like, no. Where are you from? I was like, from a tiny village called Tammuz, like half an hour, away from Nablus. And she's like, and what do you do? I'm still looking for a job. Why? Like, I just came back from the UK. Really? What you were doing there was doing my master's. Interesting.
Why she was asking?
Some old ladies. Yeah, she just came across me in the shop. Yeah. And it's kind of rude, to ignore. So I was engaging. And she's like, really? Do peasants or do farmers send their daughters to study abroad? So she thought.
What a surprise.
Yeah, see? I said, shufti, like, yeah, do you notice? So to me, it's still very interesting, very intriguing to me, like, why on earth the interesting lady thought that. Actually, the level of education in my village is 85%, So why on earth she thought that farmers don't send their daughters to study abroad? And it comes with it all sorts of, and I'm talking about a place where it's half an hour away from my village. And, you can cascade this to other contexts where people come across each other from different walks of life. So, and it's been intriguing to me, this whole thing of how we have general understanding about certain class, social class, or certain culture. We cascade it to everyone we know that comes from that, class or culture. So, yeah, that's my story when the stereotype has failed me big time. So, yeah, feel free, guys, to share. Like stories about who you are, the cultures that you carry within you.
And
Safe space.
Eventually everyone will say something.
Yeah.
It has to be the case. Eventually you'll feel inspired. So just let
we have seen it many times where people are like, then we struggle actually to stop them. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're all ears. We'd love to know who you are, guys. Shakir? Okay.
Go for it.
It's easy, huh?
Yeah, they say women first. They say women first, or ladies first.
No, it's okay.
Well, we already two of us. We had already two ladies go.
Yes. Yeah. So.
Okay, I don't know which one I want to talk. I've got loads of.
Choose one.
We have the whole night.
Choose one.
So I think I would pick the very thing just recently what started to happen soon after I retired 2 years ago. And I was living in a very different kind of a community that I thought I belonged to, but I never did. And
elaborate more on this bit. It's very important.
Okay.
If I may.
I was in more of a political scenario and a business scenario. Rather just maybe people call it that 1%. So probably I was involved in that community way too much of my life than I should have.
Okay.
So after retiring and getting back to actual life, I just realized many things about life, and how we should learn the culture, actually cultural values, and specifically because I only hardly lived around 6-7 years of my life in Pakistan, although I was born in Pakistan, that I can connect to. But now recently that I've started to travel to Pakistan and exploring cultures and meeting people from a very specific, I would say, region, it really gave me a very, very different prospect of how I used to think about the people, that they never had an opportunity in their life to make something out of their life. And I always thought that probably they're lazy or other thing that I associated things with them. But now I realize that it is about the opportunity that is given to them or given to any human being that can make best out of that opportunity. So whether it is someone who's in Pakistan or who's in Africa or America, it is about how the government creates the opportunity for the people, or the community builds together and comes together to probably support a cause or community that actually built a nation, I would say. So this is something I've recently started.
You have been reflecting on, and How would you define the culture within you? How would you define yourself?
It's very difficult because, you know, again, I lived.
You're still maybe exploring. It's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's valid. We all
Initial
do.
life, I was living in Pakistan, and then I lived around almost 10 years in England, and then US, and then Dubai, Saudi Arabia, so different places. So it's very difficult to connect to one culture. But at the same time, I just very recently realized that even though I was living in many different countries, I still was not connected to normal people, I would say.
Okay.
I was within a very specific community that did not allow me to learn many things about
The culture of the
culture
place.
of the place, yes.
Okay.
When you say that like the 1%, you mean also kind of like upper class in terms of money and privilege and stuff, or?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, it's very interesting because
Yes.
it's true. I mean, when we have a bit more ability with money and all of that, then it allows us to separate from
Yeah.
the community, whether it's like not riding the bus where you don't have to be around other people, so you have your own car, or you can just have your nice house, you're not really like interacting maybe with as much with your neighbors.
Yeah.
It can be
But
a
you
challenge.
need more for judging other people because you're higher.
True.
Yeah.
And what I've realized recently, because I put up some humanitarian project in Pakistan, and through that people had so much talent that I could not believe that these are the same people that never had an opportunity and now they're thriving like in anything. So that really shocked me. So that was something,
Eye-opening.
yeah.
Interesting. Thanks for opening up and sharing.
Thank you.
What do you think about yourself? Do you think you are rich, or do you think?
It's very interesting, unexpected question.
Depends how much he has in his bank account.
I think it's very subjective. I would consider myself to be rich if I have really good friends that I
Ah.
can fully rely on.
Nice answer.
Yeah.
The meaning of my question is like.
He's asking about your bank account. No.
I'm joking. Your mentality, like you think, okay, if you even some people are really poor and they feel that they're really rich, and I met some like this and they are so proud.
I think I got the question. Yeah.
Yeah, so you are in the opposite side. So you think that you are normal or you are poor?
I think if you asked this question 2 years ago, I would have given you a different answer. But now I have a totally different answer because I now feel sad for myself, which I was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That was a very different, I think, Shakil that is
Yeah.
today.
But it's even, sorry for the interruption, it's very interesting to actually see you evolving.
Yeah.
I mean, the level of openness, even your stories, this is like maybe his 5th experience with us. And every time, like at the beginning, he was giving us like general story about who he is and where he's coming from, profile. And now he's more, I feel like he's more comfortable sharing specific stories and shedding the light on specific
Started to learn.
components of who he is. Yeah.
There's so many things that I think I should not talk openly, so that really restrict me to what I want to say or what I want to share. So I think.
But yeah, I mean, there's a bit inside each one of us. We were just talking before everyone showed up that wants actually to trust. You know, like if someone meets you halfway and trusts you, and then you trust, and then we can build that trust, you know, collective trust. So, thanks for sharing.
Thank you for the opportunity.
It's been a pleasure, guys.
Cheese.
We gotta eat it. It's cut. It's in
Habibti.
pieces. Now that it's in
Get
pieces, we
ready.
have to eat it.
I'm so eager actually. You can go ahead.
Basma.
يلا يا حلوة.
I think I love traveling. The more I travel, the more I believe that there is no right way of doing something or thinking about something. I'm so intrigued with other cultures. It started right after university when I started traveling more to other different countries. So when I go back to Egypt for summer, whatever, wedding season, whatever, the guys can relate, of course. It just, you can imagine the difference in thinking and the difference in perception between how people are as in local people in Egypt and everywhere else. I mean, I believe in each country, everyone has their own cocoon to live in, but being an outsider, because I never lived in Egypt, I just went for holidays, I can really see the difference in mentalities and how you think, and Arab are the best, and oh my god, he's a bit darker, she's a bit darker. I mean, what the hell? No. It's just the way people think about stuff, the way people think how things should be, my way or the highway. It's just it's an eye-opener. Traveling is really great for that.
Yeah, can you just give us a specific example where you used to think of, you know, doing something in a certain way is the best way to do it, and then when you have traveled, you just started to see, no, there's no specific way of doing things.
I think maybe
And give details, huh?
living on my own.
Uh-huh.
It's just that happened recently.
Okay.
Even now, I have some opposition in my family because how come a girl can live on her own, and then all the perception, what is she doing? Is it safe? Although my family lives in Sharjah and I just live here in Barsha because I work in Jabal Ali. So I used to come and go to Sharjah, Dubai every day. So it was very bad. Once I actually moved out, I realized what I was doing in my life.
Yeah, you're wasting your time driving.
Energy and time. At least you have some time in the day to just go to the gym, do something, even watch TV.
Oh my gosh, you were going the traffic, the worst
Exactly.
traffic.
Exactly. I used to be on the road at 5:30 a.m. And then if I finish work at 7, I need to stay in Dubai, do anything until traffic dies, back at 9ish. So I just see my family for 2 hours and then that's it.
Oh my gosh.
So the whole idea of Basma wants to live on her own.
Yeah, how did you introduce it? If
Well,
I may
I first
ask.
started with the normal way of I need to convince my family logically. Logic doesn't work sometimes.
Yeah.
Like that. And I have a brother as well. It's like, what the people will say, you're living on my own and you don't want to tell everyone. Okay, accept it. Not everyone knows to know, but you know, the way I talk about it and the more I'm taking step and I'm not seeking permission, I'm telling them I'm going. You might as well be on board with me. And now they can see because it's not like I'm in China. It's just like 30 minutes from home. If anything happens.
And even
I'm
if
there.
you were in China, I mean,
Yeah, no,
if
that's
you
what I
feel
mean.
like it, I mean, what's wrong with it?
The way how you just said, meet me halfway, and some stuff
Yeah,
like that,
true.
just meet me halfway.
Yeah, I'm so
So
proud
yeah,
of
so I
you,
still see them in
bravo.
the weekends back and all. Plus, it's all these small trivial problems I used to have with my family. Now I'm like a traveler coming back home.
Yeah.
So we don't have those mini silly arguments. It's different. The relationship
true.
has really enhanced with my family.
Nice.
So that's
It's interesting. I feel like you have gained the confidence
Exactly,
to put it
exactly.
forward after you have traveled and you've seen.
It's true. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you. See?
Plus
You have interesting
how-
things.
There's another
Share.
story in how
See?
people. Before you guys
Another
came,
story.
I asked her before you guys came. I asked her where did this come from or how you started that. But the more she
I
talks
saw
about
something in your
I
eyes.
could relate too much.
Yeah.
Much stereotyping, especially because I'm wearing hijab. So people just put you in a cocoon that she doesn't shake hands, she doesn't accept people drinking. Okay, it's different. I mean, the level of acceptance is different. You are up to you, whatever you want to do, but that doesn't mean that I'm allowed to judge you or treat you differently. It's fine. It's who the person is. That's what I care about. As long as we all have our boundaries eventually.
True.
So yeah, even at work, people, for example, if I'm walking in a corridor, wherever, they step aside because you know how Saudis and local people give them extra respect and offer the abayas. For me, it's okay. It's fine. So
I don't buy it.
yeah,
No,
when I travel to Saudi, I work with Saudis, so sometimes I put the abaya.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just this. I feel the hijab is kind of putting me in an image, not entirely me. I can relate a bit, but it's there.
And how does it feel like? Do you like talk about it openly with the people you think that
I
they?
can trust.
No, I mean, if at work someone would actually put you in a specific, you know, like in that corridor because you wear hijab, do you feel like, okay, I want to go and talk to them and tell them
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
different, this is how I am. You know, me wearing hijab doesn't mean that I don't shake
put them in a
hands.
separate category
Yeah,
or
I can
something.
stay late at work or
Yeah,
i.e., you know.
Yeah, just tell them we're all fine. I mean, as long as we don't harm each other, it's fine.
Interesting.
Just
Yeah.
a- yeah.
It's very interesting. Thank you. I'm so proud of you.
The problem that I'm facing in my life, I call it the first impression
True.
stereotype.
True.
For me, I was born and
Who's
raised in
speaking?
Egypt.
Huh?
All
Okay.
my life, I lived there all my life. But the problem is that I don't look Egyptian. For
You
the
don't look
Egyptians
Egyptian.
and non-Egyptians.
Okay, you don't actually.
Yeah.
Okay, do you mean the people?
Sorry.
You mean the people? Like
The Egyptian and non-Egyptian, they always say that I'm not Egyptian.
Okay.
Oh, so he doesn't look Egyptian
But
to.
Egyptians are very diverse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, they don't have.
Same with
proper
Palestinians.
hair like me.
Oh!
Okay, got it.
So in Egypt, they were always making comments about this.
Oh.
And then, yeah, they mean it. I mean, like every day, someone should ask me that question. Are you Indian? I was like, no. I was like, is there an Indian grandparents?
Oh my God.
You're a stereotype.
Is there any origins from India? No. And then it gets worse because then I moved to London for doing my studies, and there everyone thought I'm Bengali. So that put me in some situation which was really weird for me. I don't know why, but the point is, and then I moved to Dubai and everybody now thought I'm Pakistan.
Oh
So
my
it
God,
seems
it
like
never ends.
I'm still in the subcontinent.
Universal.
So I always have this issue, the
First
first
impression.
impression.
Yes,
Mm.
true.
So yeah, when you get this first impression, people will always categorize you,
True.
put you in this box, and based on this, they will treat you or they will
Thank
start
you.
they will
It's
say
very
something.
interesting.
And
True.
actually, I've heard that sentence a lot, that we didn't know that you're that until we actually spoke to you.
Always.
A lot. I've heard it too many times.
Always.
Yeah.
And then I start the conversation with someone, and yeah, so I have to break this first stereotype by saying that I'm Egyptian. I'm introducing where are you from? Where are you from? Oh, I'm German. I'm Egyptian. Sometimes when I talk a lot, and then someone asks me where are you from, it's like I'm Egyptian. And there is lots of I heard this comment a lot. Your English is very good.
Oh my God.
Yes,
Oh
100%.
my God.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
because
so
we have a
I
specific
would like to say
accent.
that.
Yeah, so
We have a specific accent.
usually, when I heard this comment, in the beginning, I thought it's a compliment, and then I thought if it's a compliment and you thought I'm Indian, that means that Indian is English. This is ridiculous.
Can you believe how many times they told me the same? Like, I'm French. So
Actually,
Yeah.
very nice accent.
you didn't see how the French act when I speak French.
Ah, you have to speak French.
Oh la la.
Could be an actor, wallah. Easily.
Stand-up
Easily.
comedian.
But how does it make you
Left side,
feel?
this little
I mean,
right
can you
side,
just
don't
elaborate
look at
more
it.
on?
We can go on the side.
We can come here.
If you want, I'll just stand for a bit.
No,
You
no,
can
Oh,
do it.
no, no, I feel guilty.
Anyway, seriously. No, it's
You're in the
fine.
plant. Come back. Come back.
Okay, you can
Can I have the water, please?
For a bit.
No, no,
Yeah,
please.
okay.
It's okay, خلاص. إذا بدك أنت, you can stand from here.
So maybe you can move
Yeah, yeah.
fine. Let's just
No,
move
around. Sorry for that.
I think you needed your shoulder to be the shot.
Yeah. You're good. You're
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Don't worry.
Ah,
For the
okay.
hair or what exactly?
Yeah. It's okay. We don't mind having your hair in the video. So yeah, carry on. Sorry
So
for.
it makes you you find yourself have to act in a particular way or in a certain way. It just makes you not comfortable.
Comfortable, yes.
You know, you have always, that every time you go to a place for a meeting or social event or whatever, you have to cross all of these levels every time you start a conversation with someone.
Exactly.
And so they start with a comment about English, and then in UK they were always asking me this really silly question when they know that I'm Egyptian. Do you do Ramadan?
Do you do Ramadan?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, I never asked you if you are going to the church or not. Why are you asking
It's
me
a
about
personal
my-
question. Thank you. True.
And it's like you're asking about my belief.
Mhm.
I mean, why are you asking about my? I don't
True.
care what you believe in. You
True.
know? But it's the same thing. He's searching because the problem is with the Egyptians that people always they don't know how they which box they will put us. I mean, we are Arabs, we are Muslims, we are Egyptians,
Africans.
we are Africans, and sometimes they were asking me, what do you consider yourself? I mean, are you Egyptian or an Arab? And I was like, I'm from Alexandria. I'm from Alexandria. That's it. Because people of Alexandria are so proud of themselves.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
So we prefer to say that we are from Alexandria.
Then I don't know why.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not get started.
There we go. We can have a whole session about
Yeah.
So it's just you always find that people are searching around which stereotype box they will put you in. ridiculous because I have my own life, and sometimes I do things. I mean, even when I'm Egyptian, I mean, it gets worse when I speak with someone who is an Arabic speaker, because he will put me like in the Egyptian stereotype based on his like.
Past experience.
Not past experience.
Not
Mostly
even
it
that.
will be the Egyptian films. He's
Yeah, oh
watching.
my
Yeah,
God.
we're so famous
Yeah.
for the media, that's why.
So he will start to speak with me in a very
Silly.
weird accent.
Yeah, funny
Like-
way.
They're like, this is
Yeah.
not Egyptians.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? Don't watch Egyptian films again.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, so yeah, this is like my everyday life story.
Sure.
So and you have to live this every
Yes,
hour.
yes. You know, I've been thinking a lot about that fact of us asking the question of where you are, because I think as humans, it brings comfort to us to know where people are coming from physically, because that might help us to know how to interact with people. You know, it gives us comfort. You know, it's
A starting point for a conversation.
not only this, like, okay, now I know how to talk to him, how to send him an email, how to play politics with him at work, you know, and so on. The list goes on. So I think it's coming from there. You know, this is my own interpretation. So.
I mean, I think it's a human
Yeah.
trait that we have, right? Like, we have to categorize and understand so many things every day. It's easier for our mind to put people in boxes like that, even if the better way for interacting with a human being would not be to not do that, you know, and would actually be to sort of see everyone coming from their own unique humanity and culture that they have. But at the end of the day, if you meet 100 people in a day, or 50 people, or 30, your mind is just, it's tired. It says, I want this person to be Egyptian, and this person is going to be French, and this person is going to be white, and this person is going to be black. And that way I'll remember who they are.
Yes.
It is a lazy way of thinking, but it's the easiest way for let our minds go. So we really have to break out of it. We have to be aware that we're doing it.
Yeah, could be the case. Yeah.
If I ask you about the weather in London, like in the climate, what would you like to say?
The weather.
Yeah, terrible weather or
It was
good?
horrible. I left.
This is leading to somewhere,
I
wait.
left Edinburgh because of the weather.
You left because of the weather.
Yeah.
Is it because it's too cold?
It's not cold. It's so windy.
Windy.
Where were you in UK?
I was in London, but I travel a lot. I mean, I went to lots of cities and towns in England, and I went to Wales, Scotland. I mean, it was so windy, and it gets worse when you go to Scotland. I mean, I was in Edinburgh, and the wind was so strong that I was almost going to fly in the streets of Edinburgh because of the wind. But the point is that the more people are so putting me in this stereotype, the more I'm trying always to get in deep of everything I'm reading when I travel. So the reason that I traveled to UK, it's, you know, the British occupied Egypt for a very long time. And since I was a kid, and this is one of the things that the people was always putting me in a stereotype, when I was a kid, I was like more interested in reading. So I was reading, my favorite subjects were history, geography, literature. So for some reason, the British occupied lots of countries within the Middle East. So for me, I thought London is like a black box for the Middle East. So when maybe I thought myself, maybe I should try to go to London and study there. I will discover things about Egypt and other countries in the Arab world. I did my studies in international relations actually.
Okay.
And then when I traveled there, you have all of these ideas about London. People would say, London is amazing, London is so beautiful. And then you go and you live and you discover like it's just the photos say it's beautiful, but there's other places that people don't take photos for.
It's a bit
So
far
when
away
I
from
lived
you.
There,
I feel
it was
guilty.
not like you see the British here, for example, the Western. They are expats, so they are not interested to get involved in the society to know more about the culture. For me, it was the other case. I traveled to because I want to know the culture, not only the British, but also the European. There are lots of like, big European communities in London, like Polish and French. So I was involving in the society. I was involved in lots of charity organizations, NGOs. I even volunteered with the Labour and Deepen for elections in 2015. And in these few years, I could understand a lot about the British and the Scottish society, and problems in the British politics, and how people in Britain like look to the Middle East or the rest of Europe. So one of the things I lived there when the issue of the creatives started there,
Okay.
and I discovered that the British they want to leave because they don't like that they have to sit with the German on the same table, for example.
Okay.
And this is like the I don't know the you will
Yeah, we avoid politics, but
yeah, I know, but it just when you go and travel and live, you also come with lots of stereotypes in your mind. It's like they are British, they do this, they do that. Yeah, and then you go and you leave, you live there and you start to live their life, and then you discover like they are just humans and they are actually we are better than them.
yeah, you can generalize. We always say,
I mean, they still have lots of problems in their country, like any other country.
Each society has its own challenges at the end of the day,
Yeah.
each system has its own
So
interesting
it's
experiences.
Not only,
so
it's not only that other people judging us, it's also that we have this issue in ourselves, and we need to like free ourselves from having this stereotype.
What I always say, since we all have this innate feature in us that we tend to judge, like we have general understandings, all of us, like at least now we're open-minded, we try to accept, but at the end of the day, we might have, less stereotypes than others, but we still have them. That's my understanding. So what we're trying to do is we try to create this outlet through which we share knowledge that would, once we go home might enable us to reconsider assumptions about ourselves and others. If we get to that point, to us, it's very fulfilling because we can't go from this side of the spectrum to the other side of the spectrum, and by telling people you have to change your perspective, is you're actually contradicting yourself, because we want people actually to be open and accept more differences in us. So we're trying to do this more often, inshallah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're full of interesting stories.
You were asking about the weather for a reason.
Yeah, I wanted to get to you anyway.
Excuse me, still have questions.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Is the what we say? I forget that question.
The food is
I
horrible.
remember it. No, is the same question happen in London, just in London, or around the UK?
Sorry again.
The bad questions,
The stereotypes.
Stereotyping you
Yeah,
get it.
it's everywhere. I even get it from people like they're supposed to be like open-minded and very
And
educated.
yeah, I'm well educated.
But they just know nothing.
Go with it.
I think we all ask silly questions sometimes.
Yeah.
Not the
But
same
sometimes
question.
in a way, like you imply things, or sometimes in a way out of interest,
Curious.
curiosity,
Yeah, you can like if someone is curious, you will know he's curious.
Yeah.
He never been to Egypt, he will ask me about Egypt. But when you get the same silly questions and the same stereotypic questions,
Yes.
then
It's actually what comes with it that
Yeah.
annoys you.
It's tiring.
Yes.
but why not? Maybe you are sensitive.
No,
Sensitive a little bit.
I'm sensitive as well. It's not only him. I'm sensitive
Are
when
you?
someone asks me
I
questions.
am sensitive.
Oh,
Sometimes and something, but not about this.
But the
Because
thing is,
I'm so much curious about asking many questions.
I ask too many questions too, but if I met someone like from a different country that I never visit, or I mean I would not ask her about her religion, whether
Yeah.
I would not ask her about her personal life.
I could do that actually, just as you said, out of curiosity.
Me too.
I've
Yeah.
learned so much just by the other day. I met someone from the U.S. who sounded very spiritual. So I asked, "What religion do you practice?" Because he would always, say, bless you, or he just sounded very spiritual. So I was curious to know what he was practicing, what brought him to spirituality. And he said that I asked, I was like, do you follow any religion? And he said to me that he's a Quaker. I have never heard of that in my life.
Quaker.
That went to
yeah.
lead me to Google what a Quaker is, So, I mean, I sometimes do it out of sheer curiosity. Like, it just kind of gets me learning so much by doing that. I genuinely don't think that everybody asks those questions only to box you. I don't think so. A lot of times it's to connect. There's like a human urge to connect with another human being, and the only way we can use to start connecting with someone is a smile, a look in their eyes, and your tongue, basically talking to them. So
It's an interesting way, to look at it. I agree with you, but I mean, again, like he was sensing about the questions and the people asking the questions. What actually,
sure. But I don't think we can also generalize.
Yeah, I don't know. We can't.
Ask questions.
This is why we share our personal experiences.
And the thing is, sometimes it makes you try things, because I remember, if you remember this, there was a running joke in the group, come you're Egyptian, you never visited the pyramids. Because they kept making fun of that. I actually went to the pyramids. I've never been there, which is last, 3 years maybe.
Made you realize that,
because of that joke, oh shit, you're Egyptian, you've never seen the pyramids, how do you call yourself an Egyptian, like that?
You're not true Egyptian then.
Yeah, so that's why when I went there, I took a selfie. Remember in that group I sent them. So yeah, it makes you actually try things and know, maybe I'm not 100% authentic Egyptian, but I would like to be
But you're
that.
authentic being yourself. I mean.
Exactly,
Actually, I never visited the pyramids.
See? See, it's in our country.
Yeah, always making
It
jokes
is
about it.
amazing. You
You
should
always making
visit
jokes
it.
and being nice.
You need
Actually,
to.
I asked.
But the other side, that people who visit Egypt, they visit nothing except the pyramids. So I asked them
Exactly.
about, did you visit the opera house? Did you visit like any art
Pyramids
gallery?
is like the biggest landmark in Egypt.
Yeah, but the point is that some people say, yeah, I went to Egypt, I like it, it's amazing. And what did you do? I went to the pyramids. And what else? Nothing. I just smoke shisha and watch everybody dancing.
I'll be happy that they liked it. Imagine they're saying I went and it was horrible, it was the worst
It
country.
is actually fun.
This is the second line, actually.
I was fascinated by it, and it's really nice.
The pyramids.
The pyramids. It's this geometry, the science behind it, all the theories. The tour guide was telling us how they built it. It's just nice.
Well, you should visit Luxor.
Yeah, that's still on my list. See, so that's the thing. I don't know much about Egyptian landmarks and places because I was here most of my life. Actually, all of my life. So it's nice.
Actually, you will never appreciate these pyramids and the monuments if you're living in Egypt. Because actually in Egypt,
You're there.
you can find the monuments anywhere.
It's the
They
same
just
thing.
covered under the houses, you know. They get to the ground.
But
Yeah, there's a
Maybe
pyramid.
it's not the same value. It's the same thing when people come here and go to Burj Khalifa. When we
No.
live in Dubai, I
Yeah.
actually went to Burj Khalifa once.
I went only with people visiting me.
Exactly. Yeah, see?
But
But it's very expensive, so it's
Well,
one reason.
that too.
I hate crowded places, so maybe this is another reason.
That's another reason. Yeah.
Did you enter in the biggest?
Yes, I did.
pyramids?
Yeah, until I couldn't breathe anymore. I almost got a panic
Wow.
attack. Right, so I went back. Yeah, me and my brother. It was amazing. You will love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
The,
nice.
the longest one?
The biggest pyramid, you can actually enter in.
Oh,
But then the thing
okay.
is, the deeper you go, the less oxygen you get, and then you have to go on your belly and all. It's not like you can't walk straight, right?
Okay.
So you reach to a level or a height that you can't go further. It's nice.
Interesting.
Wow.
So you went up to the chamber?
No, you go down. You go in.
Down.
Inside.
Did you
Yeah.
go to final room or?
No, I couldn't.
You couldn't.
I reached a level where I actually couldn't find oxygen anymore. I just panic attacks.
Yeah.
Claustrophobic.
Uh,
Is
My
it
brother-
possible, physically possible to get
My
there?
brother did.
It,
Yeah.
it is
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
I did actually as well.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
Amazing.
It was one of his kind experience.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So because of that running joke, how come you're Egyptian and I've visited the
Yeah.
pyramids? I even got a birthday gift. They photoshopped me next to a pyramid. No, that's it. Doing a tour with the tour guide this summer. I'm going. Cregan. I was enough. I'm going.
Interesting. This leaves us with you ladies
Yeah, we didn't hear
and
from
the
you.
gentleman.
لا you finish with men so.
Okay, of course. Please go ahead.
We should begin with you.
لا we have different like
He wants it to
Shakil
be-
and
Basma.
and Basma and maybe Nadia.
Okay, so what? Okay, so what?
Julie?
Who should speak
I
next?
don't know.
You just object.
He's lost.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if
So
someone
yeah,
wants to
ladies
talk,
can
just-
step in.
just
Ladies can.
chip
Yeah.
in.
Sorry.
Yeah, you wanna go ahead?
It's not with me because my heart started.
Beating.
Yeah, so much. This is the trouble for me.
No, there's no trouble. We're very much keen just
Is
to.
it
Okay.
hungry?
Water.
Water.
Yes, of course, we'll get you water.
Yeah, I can refill it. I'm
Okay, good.
closest.
Can I get a glass?
Oh, of course.
sorry.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot
I'll
about
bring
you,
one.
Julie. Okay, once you get the water, okay.
It's late in French, right?
Okay, so until she gets the water, should we start with Julie now?
Okay, Janina,
Yeah, it's been very quiet. No pressure. Just to record us because we want to. This is the first time we're recording like professionally.
Oh, okay.
Finally, alhamdulillah.
Just cut the breaks.
Oh yeah. So many things I'll cut them out. Don't worry. No, it's been interesting to be honest. It's very interesting. To me, I mean, the stories, the talks, and even like when you shared something and then she shared like, okay, it actually when people ask me questions, stimulates discussions and it's a way for me to kind of, it's interesting to hear both perspectives and then it's up to you to pick and choose. So.
When I hear the name like Jules, Julie, so I just say Juliet. I always remember Juliet.
Okay,
You know?
she's okay with that. She can live with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Bring your card.
Okay, then.
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah, please.
Okay. It's not a stereotype. However, this is things that happen always,
Yeah.
and that even me, I'm trying to overcome it. It's quite hard. Like,
Yeah.
for example, when you get to meet some people, like the first question that you're gonna say, where are you from?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing in life?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that these are two questions where you will put people in the box straight away. And like even myself, like this is some
Yeah.
questions I'm
Do it.
asking, but I've noticed that in France, this is the first time that this is the first question that you're gonna say to anybody that you will meet. But then when you go out of your country, you travel a little bit, you go in Asia, you meet some other people traveling there, and this question you just forget about it because you're completely in a different environment,
Context.
different mind, different mood, and then you just realize that this question you don't need it actually. But yeah, that's a bit difficult because then you go back to your normal life and then you go back to it. However, this thing, that kind of thing should stay with you because this is putting people in boxes.
Yeah. Interesting. And have you ever been actually judged or people try to box you because you're coming from a certain culture and it annoys you or you felt like, no, I'm much more than that?
So great. Yeah, because even here, like for example, here I'm the manager and I have like a lot of Filipinos working with me. And the thing is for them, I'm like the French lady.
Oh. First lady, period.
It's like horrible because I don't want them to feel like I am the French lady because it's not true. Like I'm just working we are equal, we are the same. Okay, we don't come from the same background, but here we are the same. Like, and this is a bit bothering me because I don't know. I'm struggling to find my position with them.
Okay.
So when they say that you are the French lady, they are expecting something in particular.
She doesn't know yet?
I mean, are you eating croissant in the morning? Like
There is no good croissant.
Oh, that's a different story. That's a different
Because I eat
story.
croissant in the morning.
I agree with
That's
that.
my story.
I agree with that.
Sorry?
Where do you get good croissant?
Good croissant.
Nothing you can compare to France.
Yeah,
I've never had anything.
Different
compared to
level of
France,
pastry
really.
there.
Actually, Carrefour has all. I don't know. Did you
But
try?
it's fresh.
Sorry.
Fresh
Yeah,
coffee.
إذا
they
بدك
do
تلج
fresh.
ما يبردها.
They do like croissant like baked and they do fresh. It depends on the which.
And you have to come in the time of freshing.
Yeah, I always send myself on the because they are next to where I live. So this is
Interesting.
one of my stereotypes. I mean, I had a colleague who always watching me having a breakfast. So because in the early morning, all what I focus on is the coffee. You need to drink a coffee.
Okay.
So you need to eat something fast, just not to leave my stomach empty. So either cake, English cake, or croissant. And he was Palestinian, and he was looking at me. I was like, "You're Egyptian and you're eating."
How come there's no food in Falah?
Yeah, exactly. He was saying this, and after a while, he started calling me Mr. Amr. I'm like, why are you calling me Mr. Amr? Like we speak
You're
Arabic.
Khawaja.
Yeah, he was like this.
The
I was like,
foreigner.
I'm not Mr. Amr. He was like, no, you eat English cake in the morning.
Oh, that makes you Mister.
And I was like, and what you drink? Olive oil in the morning?
Thank you.
So another stereotype, the English Egyptian something.
it is traditional food and falafel, but really I cannot even eat it
In the morning.
anytime.
Or evening.
Anytime.
Or anytime.
It makes you sleep. It's just
Like
heavy.
before they
I
start
love
talking
it
about
for
kosher.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Actually, Egyptian food is healthy.
Yes.
I really so healthy.
Healthy is a different story. It's
Wait,
heavy.
what do you mean
Heavy.
healthy?
But you guys use lots of ghee in your cooking.
Depends.
Plus lots of
We
carbs.
don't
Ghee is
use-
very
I
healthy.
don't use
Is
ghee.
it heavy or healthy?
But
Ghee is
the
very
one they
healthy.
use is
Ghee
the
is
processed
heavy.
one, not the.
I mean, it's heavier.
Ghee, it shouldn't. It's just clarified butter.
I don't think so. The one that you use in Egypt,
It's not
some.
just ghee, it's just like a concentrated ghee.
Yes.
Morocco, they have it too, simon. But
Like we
it's-
have the baladi one, which is the organic one. I think it's different than the processed one that you get from.
We have different types. We have like vegetarian one and the one of cows and the artificial one, and it all causes
Cholesterol.
Yeah. I mean, I don't use it.
I don't-
in cooking.
I agree 100% that our food, Egyptian food, is healthy because if you compare it to Lebanese, for example, it's all salads and appetizers and stuff. For
Did
us,
you
it's
see that?
hard.
Did you see
Lots
the
of
dance?
Instagram.
Yeah, I love Lebanese, by the way. My best friend is Lebanese, by the way. Just
Ah.
just clarifying, because it's like this, yeah.
I mean, did you try homemade Lebanese food?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, that's
Of
good.
course, yeah. I'm just saying, our mahshi, kushari, but
It's starchy.
Yeah, but they are mostly
Hamam.
our cuisine is mostly vegetarian.
What?
Yeah.
فتة لحمة, excuse
No,
me.
this is fateh
البشاميل
lahma.
معكرونة
this is why
with
we eat it
minced
once
meat.
in the year.
but that's the thing, you're just saying about the common food, like full and falafel. Why is it too common? Because it's easy and yeah, vegetarian.
It's yeah,
It's more street food.
Yeah, it's
affordable.
Mm.
Over to you, boss.
We didn't hear you yet, Mohammed.
We're actually
Yeah, you're not still.
And then
I'm okay, I'm fine.
how?
It's fine.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I will stop. So what do you want me to say?
Just pick one story, please.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think then we're gonna eat.
Yeah.
And I
What's
hear from you as
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's
Because we are waiting
Oh.
for the beverages.
Okay.
Yeah.
We start eat.
No.
No, start your story.
He's hungry.
We will
Start
not
your
eat.
story.
We will
Yes.
Okay, see, I'm trying to think about something really, but I couldn't find something exactly. But when I was just the thing I remembered before 3 hours, it's about the widening, because when I was in Egypt just before some days, I go to three widening, and it become 3 types of widening. Before it is not like this. Before the widening is starting from long time, like not just the widening, it's the preparing for that. What I can say, the man who want to marry one lady, so they start engagement, and it's take between 2 months to 2 years, maybe longer. And after that, they go to something called like henna night. Then they go to do the ملجأ أو كتب الكتاب.
The engagement.
يعني okay. So the engagement first one is خطبة يعني engagement ولا خطبة؟
It's engagement.
You said henna.
Katib al-kitab is when they sign the marriage
Exactly.
contract.
Make it
Yes.
official to the government.
Yeah.
They are doing this now.
Really?
No, but that's
Yeah,
what
she's
the
very
point is.
dangerous, huh?
Like that. Okay. So then the widening starts. Okay. And nowadays I found something really different. When they say, okay, we go to Katb al-Kitab, and actually this is the widening and this is the Katb al-Kitab, everything
At the same time.
at the same time. It was like, okay, fine, but
You were okay
not
with it,
like,
huh?
Not like before, because before I really enjoy it so much. I'm when I remember any widening, I say I would like to go, because mostly from drama story, I just laugh about something in that story, and I didn't share it ever. Even if I go to my mother and say, "What's that? You are a bullshit guy," or something. They say, don't say that like this. So I didn't share anything. Like just I keep it in my mind.
But you're gonna share it with us.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not something very bad. It's just that.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's the type of the widening now, and this is in my area, which is called Meat Ghamr. It's between Arabic and hieroglyphic name. Actually.
Okay.
Yes. Then I went also to Cairo to one widening, and we have some people like in my family storage, and they make something like wow. It's
Like
very
impressive
like
function.
I don't want to enter, and I don't want, but it is like different things, just different. I go to see the new experience for me.
Mhm.
That's all. But something terrible happened for me there, and I have memory. So you would like to hear about my memory about widening, like since 15 years ago or 20 maybe, or you would like to hear the new one.
So that was the introduction.
Well, you were saying that the new ones are very different, right?
Yeah.
Like to go to this is registration and this is the fine. We are fine. Okay, like that, and they go to travel.
Like it's very quick.
Quick, simple.
Yeah. It's quick and actually it is for the who's had the husband and wife. It is really nice for them because they are finish it early and they can be together early and
So
they
you're
can travel together early.
They don't
It's,
have an
wow.
elaborated party, you're saying, anymore. It's
Yeah,
just
why
that
they have to spend the money for us? Go and spend it for you and do
It's a
right.
very wise way of thinking.
Yeah,
I
okay, that way
agree.
then. Okay, that way.
That clever man, but in our area they say, oh, what's this? Oh,
Yeah, the
God,
wedding
like,
has to happen.
especially the old
happen
ladies
within-
and
yeah,
say,
yeah,
see what happened, like see what.
Yeah, they start talking.
But
about-
I like that.
You like that still.
I like what they are do for themselves. Maybe I don't like what I am saying because it is different, new,
Okay.
new things. So the
Okay.
new things always is something like you don't have any feeling, any sense for that until you
Get
see
used
it
to
more.
it and
Yeah,
see more
yeah.
of it. True.
The things which I think before 3 hours before I come in here, it's about one type of widening is happened before a long time.
Uh-huh.
This like I was child in that time, and there is a terrible thing happened when the music starts. You hear that one guy called Shaban Abdul Rahim.
Yeah, Allah yarhamah. Yeah, he just passed away. He's a
that's man.
traditional
So
singer
when
in Egypt.
You know the sense of music, like they say. I'm not good in music. Like.
Just say the lyrics.
You go up like tee tap like this.
Okay, like
You know,
loud
and,
music.
it's low and back like.
The beat.
The beat,
The beat.
yeah, there is a
The
very
beat,
heavy
yeah.
beat.
So when something happened like this, we have in our city there is a stadium, and behind the stadium there is a widening area, 2-3 places. But the bad luck for that people who's stand in the Nile, near to the Nile, and this is the plate is not Cornish, I hope. it's just a wood, like a wood. So that wood is more people stand, and they are stand like row. So one,
stage.
2, 3.
It's like a stage
it
made out
is
of
a
wood.
stage.
Yeah.
It is looks
you know
like
this
yeah, it's near to the stage. The main stage is here, but this is looks like here. Yeah, it's the stage, but
Stage where the other
under nothing.
the guest.
There is
Oh,
There's
water
nothing,
under,
okay.
okay. So when the tune come like
Uh-huh.
like
is
I
like-
take
like
that
yeah,
tune,
yeah, yeah.
the last row is really the place is really so small. So somebody try to dance even a little bit. One throw it down, then tear, then one throw it down, then tear, one
They
throw
fell in
it
the
down.
bucket.
So they come like that. I was I guess 10 years or between 10 to 13. I go back. I love it so much. I die for when I love about this. And actually, if somebody see me, I hope no anybody beat me in that time because I'm really happy in that view and I enjoy it so much. I'm sorry. This is terrible thing happened for those people, but it's so funny. Like wow, the music and like someone go down, and so I'm just laid down. I cannot continue to stop. My father tried to stop me,
But they
about
couldn't.
something like this because even when we go to we say called Aza.
Um,
Funeral.
okay.
Yeah. something.
You laugh.
I love.
And
it.
then you're like, oh my god.
Really, I cannot.
So I think that you stopped going with your father to functions and.
My father tried to not sit with me. And I'm trying to. One time happened like I am running and laughing, and someone would see me and say, "Oh, hey, come." تضحك ليه يعني
why are you laughing?
Like a crazy person. I thought I'm crazy a little bit, but I think it is really nice to because I'm so happy in that time and I'm laughing so much. Like wow.
So you had a nice experience actually with wedding.
That
Back then you had a nice experience. You were laughing.
Yeah.
So this is why you want to go back always and enjoy more.
Something like that, yeah.
Watching people falling in.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people have that kind of reaction.
Yeah.
It's not you're not the only
Me too.
one, really.
Okay.
You're
Not the only
one.
crazy one.
Yeah, no.
It's comforting, huh?
Because no anybody love really, just me.
Of course, especially in a
Thanks
funeral.
God.
You like to laugh in the wedding and funeral.
It's not like
Funny
this,
things, like-
but it is
Or
so
do you think
funny
that-
for
استنى
me.
في اشياء more things. Wait.
I mean, something. One time it happens to be that I was in a funeral and suddenly I started to laugh.
Oh my god.
And I was surrounded with my friends, and they started to laugh also.
Yeah.
And we were like,
On your
"Okay,
laugh,
This is
yeah.
a situation we need to go out now."
To leave.
And we were just go out, and for no reason we were just laughing.
That happened without no reason.
But
I
like-
remember it before 3 hours. So the people around you, wherever you are, you try to put yourself down, but you cannot laugh easy. But I would like to make it like this, but it's
Like you put yourself up, like your head up, and then
yeah, the people will say
you laugh hard.
What's this man like? So
It was interesting. Funny.
There is another point. I mean, about laughing in a funeral. There is a famous scene in an Egyptian film about the actor started to laugh during the funeral because he was high. And this scene is so famous.
Okay.
So every time if somebody starts to laugh at the funeral, we start to remember this.
Yeah, you make a
And
reference to
then
the
we start to
movie.
laugh too. So
Interesting.
maybe this is part of the story.
Interesting. Thank you. You're the
Express the
last.
rest of the
There's a lot of options for you to choose
Yeah.
from. Or you can say a completely different topic.
Yes,
you don't
yes.
have to
It's your
stay.
turn.
Up to you.
Seriousness talk.
1, 2, 3, go.
Okay. So first stereotype. Are you Arab? So the first thing, so are you Arab? Are you Egyptian? Are you Moroccan? I thought you were Egyptian. I thought you were Moroccan. First stereotype. I don't speak Arabic. So I have many stories that, of attitude actually, because I have a feeling that a lot of people think that when they don't know, they think that I pretend that I don't speak Arabic. So you
I
have
think
that.
it's because of your name.
Of course, I guess my name, I don't know if it's the look or
The look maybe also.
I don't know, but the expectation is that I would be able to respond in Arabic, but I don't speak Arabic. So that's number one. Number two is once they find out, well, that happened a couple of times actually, that, I'm from Mauritius and they wouldn't know where Mauritius is. I would say it's Africa. Part of closest country would be Madagascar, South Africa. How come you're so fair? Second stereotype.
Yeah.
Fair.
Light,
So
light
dark.
skin.
She's not dark.
You have white people in South Africa.
They never heard about Australia.
So, I'm lighthearted that way, but you still have people who think this way.
Yeah.
And third is, where are you from? Where I'm from is Mauritius, but I'm actually half Singaporean and half Mauritian. So it's. I mean, we talk about culture and having one culture. I don't think I have one culture. My mom is half Yemeni, half Indian. So we go way back with regards to, cross-pollination of culture that way. And I guess I can't, if anybody was to, I've painted a story of myself that is a simplified version of me, just because I need to answer these questions, and I wouldn't want each time to answer these questions explain my essay.
Yes.
It's never going to take me anywhere. So I've chosen to say that I'm from Mauritius. Although I was born in Singapore, I'm from Mauritius, and I speak English and I speak French, and if they were to ask me what culture you're from, then I would not be able to answer that question because I truly am from a mixed background. So Mauritius, with all its challenges, that's where I've lived for about 18 years. I have no sense of belonging to where I was born, although my mom is from there. My mom still lives there. My whole maternal family is from there, but no connection whatsoever. I would never call it home.
Mauritius.
Singapore. Yeah, I've never. I don't belong there. Although I saw the light there. So cuisine-wise, when we talk about cuisine, my dad's side of the family has a completely different style, Africanized, Indianized, whatever, Mauritian cuisine. On my mom's side, they have cravings for Indonesian food, and they use different spices, and so this is what I'm made of. But
it's a blessing. I mean, like, you have the intelligence coming from different sources. That must have.
It's interesting because you have to be open to different things. So what could be considered right or wrong on dad's side could, not
Very
necessarily
interesting.
be considered the same way on mom's side. So as a child, you can't take sides either. So it's like I'm both.
Yeah.
You accept both.
You're open-minded.
Yeah. Okay. So what makes it even more interesting, why I kind of separate those two, is because my parents are separated. So when I go to my mom's side, it's really my mom's side of things. My dad's side is my dad's side of things. So it's two different countries and two different cultures, two different homes. So even when I go back home, I go back to my dad in Mauritius, or I go back home to my mom in Singapore.
Yeah.
So basically that's that.
That's very interesting.
It's
You're
really,
very
really
blessed.
interesting.
Yes.
I hope if you go to another experience, you can delve more into something that comes from that, like, so that you don't have to stick to the surface that you're always trapped in talking about, that you can go farther
And
if you
I
want to.
think as a side effect for us being all, I'm not sure side effect is the right word, but for us being a bit more open-minded than the locals of each of our countries, you tend to pick and filter the people you know, and you tend to filter the way you think about your significant other, or what are you looking for in that person that you're going to spend your whole life with, right? Sometimes you can't just accept the mindset like that. You just have to be open, or just different.
True.
It just gives you a different lens, a different filter to people.
It's very interesting that you use the phrase open-minded. So do you think like people back home in our countries, if they had the similar opportunities, they may have maybe a different mindset, I would say?
It depends on how you receive it, right? So yes, if you put two people towards the same experience, someone will accept it, someone will go back to the roots, no, we are right, everyone else is wrong.
True, of course.
It depends on how you receive it. But yeah, definitely it will help. Yeah.
Sometimes I think we have responsibility. I mean, we travel abroad and we saw lots of things. So when we go home,
You need to tell people about that.
not tell. We don't play the role of teachers.
Like, you share.
You share.
You share, yeah, and you share and you explain things. Because people in our home country might they didn't have a chance to travel,
Of course.
or they didn't have a chance to read about other people. I mean, you get into. I mean, here in Dubai, for example, we get into. For me, I lived in London before, so we get interacted with people from different cultures, and you have these stereotypes in your home country, and you have to remember that the same stereotypes you had it in your
In all
mind
the
before.
countries, yeah.
So people might ask you some questions. I mean, when you go back home to Egypt, people will ask you about Dubai, and they will ask you like about if they are doing this, how the people doing this, and then you have to share with them information about no, this is wrong, this is happening that way, and the people of country A, for example, they're doing this because of that, and it's this, but this feeling of sharing, this is a responsibility.
True.
It's not something you teach. You
Yeah,
don't,
sure.
because when you teach, you will like
will
consider
have-
yourself like an elite, or
Yeah.
you're something
Which
had
is
a
not- yeah.
unique privilege, and you might use it for your own benefits. But to share, you're enlightening others.
Just make sure when you're sharing, you don't say this is better, worse, bad,
Yeah.
good.
Yes,
Which is very challenging.
Different.
Yeah, it's just different.
It's
Thank
the
you.
other side who will decide this is better or good.
Mm.
You
Or
just
because of
you
that
just
they get-
transfer the image to him and you tell him
But that's the thing, you
it's happened
transfer
like
it.
this way.
Exactly.
And you
You
explain
don't
why it
classify
happened.
You shouldn't classify
And
it.
because right and wrong is
Subjective. Subjective.
yeah,
Subjective.
it depends. I mean, what is right for us might be very wrong
Exactly.
for another culture.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
True, I learned that the hard way actually. After going through so
Sorry.
It doesn't mean that you'll eat less, huh?
Hmm?
I'm telling her by taking the smaller dish doesn't mean that you will eat less. Because we like our people to
I mean, we
eat.
can put the food and then change it.
So,
I might need this for the,
The hot-
plate. Yeah.
okay.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, just move it a bit. So now the second component of the experience, which is basically getting to know her culture through certain food items and what do they mean to her and the whole dish, you know, where it's coming from. So we'll be focusing on the emotions and the stories behind it. Yes.
We're gonna eat.
So there is like a bit of Morocco, Italy, and
Yes. So I'll put everything and then I'll explain.
okay, we're waiting.
It's amazing.
The Borowul?
It's like burghul, but it's not.
It's not Borgol.
Oh,
It's not
And it's
even
also like
sweet.
frika, but it's not.
Yeah.
Where did you live in Italy?
I lived in a few places, a few different places, but mostly in Florence and in Bologna.
Wow.
Florence is the hub for the art.
Yes, I lived there when I was quite young,
Yeah.
so I didn't really have.
So you never went to Rome?
I've only visited, like, yeah. This you can just sort of scrape, I think. So okay, I will explain. He's gone.
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
So the sort of small appetizer, you guys just take a little bit, try it, is one of my favorite things to make. So it's cauliflower roasted, and then you put this tahina sauce on it with lemon and garlic, and it's super simple sauce. And if you put it on any vegetable, like that vegetable will become really yummy.
Yeah.
So not just tahina, but like with, you know, mixed into the sauce.
Recipe from you.
And I don't know, with broccoli, with cauliflower, with anything, especially if you want like to serve it to maybe someone who doesn't like vegetables. Like me, I used to hate vegetables. I used to only eat like apples, pasta, and cheese, you know, when I was young, when I was really young growing up. So I'm happy that now I can like find these little hacks where it's like, okay, now I really love vegetables. You know? For this, this is a farro. So this
And
is
when did you learn to use the tahina in your cooking?
I always just find recipe inspirations
Okay.
like online and my favorite magazine, Bon Appetit, like
Okay.
food magazine. So I'm always reading their stuff. And, like,
Tahina is like amazing salad. It can be used with lots
yeah,
of food.
but you know, an American might not know about it.
Yeah,
It's
but this
not,
is why I'm
They
asking.
always talk
it's
about
not big in
hummus.
our food.
Ah.
Yeah, exactly. My parents, like I told you, we lived in Italy, so farro is actually an Italian grain, but it's super similar to frika, bulgur wheat. Like it has a lot of similarities with those.
Okay, so it's basically wheat,
It's what is it?
like mature wheat.
It's a grain, but I don't think it's the same
It's
as
not
wheat.
wheat, no.
Yeah, it's a
Mm.
grain. It has like a whole grain. It has a lot of
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously,
Good
it's still
starch
a starch. It's still a carb,
Please.
but it has a lot of good properties for you. It's
Protein,
very
maybe, and
nutritious. So this salad, it has arugula. It has tomatoes. It has a lot of fresh things. It's nice to make a big batch. You can just like eat it all week, and it keeps really, really well. And then finally, we have the chicken. The chicken is marinated with harissa paste, which is North African hot pepper. It's not very, very hot, but a bit hot pepper paste. It's my favorite thing to put on everything. This one is from Tunisia. The paste. I visited
okay.
Tunisia in August. I went to a wedding there. And it was really interesting to see the differences between the Tunisian harissa and the Moroccan harissa.
yeah, I wanted to ask you.
I don't think there's an official difference.
Okay.
Tunisia is the one which claims harissa, that's
Yeah.
the sort of like created harissa. And it's supposed to be sort of a mixture of a lot of different peppers, tomato paste or tomato in some sorts,
okay.
and also usually preserved lemon as well, which they sort of mix it in. But we found that the Moroccan harissa was way more lemony than the Tunisian harissa. So I don't know if Moroccans, they added preserved lemon. The
that's
Tunisians don't, but
Tunisian, they prefer the chili with harissa. But harissa for Egyptian is a dessert.
yeah, so totally
Harissa.
different.
Harissa, yeah. I think
Looks
it's
like basbousa, but
Harissa.
It's same like basbousa, but basbousa should be fresh.
Yeah.
I like basbousa a lot.
Ah.
But even when I was in Morocco, they had something called basbousa, which is like a cake. And then in Palestine, I ate something called basbousa.
Yeah, harissa. No, there's also we call it harissa. Yeah, it's very traditional sweet in Palestine.
Help
It's
yourself.
very
because
heavy.
I eat this all the time. You don't need to give me any. There's plenty of other food.
And yes,
Esma, please. Thank you.
Is there something called Tunisian molokhia?
molokhia, Tunisian.
I'm not sure. I didn't have any when I was there, but I mean, it's possible. Let me get a bit more water for
Rina
everyone.
mentioned about
قلت لك صحن يا منذر.
And please feel free to start to serve yourself.
Yes, please.
it's very nice.
صحة.
Actually, the
Limited?
herbs used in this
Uh-huh.
it tastes like the one we use for the fish.
Okay.
Because with the fish we use lots of herbs and tahina. Tahina is so popular to salad with the fish.
So if you want any of the sauce, it's here.
Yeah, probably. Is it possible to get the recipe afterwards?
Yeah, of course.
For all of this.
Can you pass the sauce
So
to?
I love cooking.
Yes.
It's very nice.
I think we need an extra spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, here? Okay.
I know I need something to eat with. Oh, and I'll get myself. a
It's
fork
very
as well.
important for us to share, what's behind it, what it means for us, because like when we conduct the experiences, we have the friki that she just referred to, which is basically the green meat. Before it matures, they pick it up, they roast it on an open fire. So I get it from the farmers in Palestine, so it's very fresh. If you take the frika and ask my siblings what does it mean to them, they might say it's a healthy grain.
So this
Yeah,
is
to me, it's something
Mixed
different.
with lemon, lemon juice,
okay.
olive oil, and garlic.
It's different from
The tahina that you have.
Norway.
Yeah, okay.
It's a sauce. It's not just
Yeah,
tahina.
it's more sauce.
I don't know if you guys eat it for
Not
nuts.
as-
Similar to the one we have.
And this has nuts also, huh?
Pistachio.
Oh, interesting.
أيوة بس
Putting nuts in salad is a big revelation.
بس هنا
تفضلي.
they do it like it's a little bit thick.
Thicker, yeah.
It's much thicker when you put it into the sauce. You have to thin it out with water and.
And you know what makes it creamy? Ice cubes. If you add ice cubes to the tahina, comes creamy.
Ice cream.
That yes. Usually ice cubes.
I had it like ice cream.
No, ice cubes.
No, you're mixing my mouth with
Yeah.
ice cream.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any food allergies? Now I ask.
It's too late.
No one will come here again. Maybe he has any food.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Anyone else need some water?
I'm thanks for water, man.
Let me pass it on.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
You okay for now? I'm gonna serve some chicken.
Tahina, please start.
I did, yeah. I like.
Would you
tahina.
like some chicken?
Yes, please.
So this is also very basic. I mean, it's literally just you put onions in the pan, and then you put the chicken, and I put some garlic in there, and then the harissa on the chicken. Some of them have bones, and some of them don't. So just be a bit careful.
No,
Asma.
okay, sorry. Okay, thank you. Enough.
This is. I hesitated. This is why I've now spilled.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Anyone else for chicken?
Yes, please.
Chicken. Thank you. Give you some onions. Oh, you get a garlic clove.
Thank you. So Lily, I think you have a passion for cooking.
I love
And the more you
cooking,
travel,
yes.
the more you get back secrets.
I get a lot of interesting secrets, like in my description of my experience. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make one of the things that I wanted to make. But when I visited Sri Lanka, I was obsessed with this sauce they have. It's not really a sauce; it's more like a condiment that they use on the side of everything. I don't know if like you guys have visited Sri Lanka before. The coconut one. Oh my god, it's like coconut sambal. I guess this is what they call it, but I think sambal just means like sauce or, you know.
Okay, and then you add it to.
And it's like fresh,
marination.
fresh grated coconut that they mix with like hot pepper and a couple of other ingredients, and it is just like so good. You can put it on the curries and you can put it on everything. And so my friend and I, we both like to cook, and we were in Sri Lanka together. So we
It was like heaven.
we made it when we got back to Dubai. We like figured out how to make it, and then we made it.
Nice.
I'm getting stabbed by the table.
The point with Sri Lanka that they are using coconut for everything.
Yes,
It's not
there's
like-
some knives, guys, if you need for the chicken.
It's not
Just
like here in
take it.
Middle East, we're using coconut for desserts.
Yes.
My sister, she came back with lots of Sri Lankan food when she went there. And it was my first experience with Sri Lankan food, and I discovered that they have the coconut in everything, like green food.
Interesting.
So when you eat, you have like a very strange taste in your mouth. You cannot recognize
soya
if
means
it's a
salad.
sweet or if it's like,
Sour.
yeah.
I really believe that Americans and probably Europeans as well, and maybe to a certain extent, like Arabs, I don't know, we don't know what coconut is. We grow up for our whole life, and we don't realize what coconut is until if we have the opportunity to visit Asia. I s- like,
This is the lens of the coconut and mango.
yeah,
Maybe it's not. Mango is like a refreshing fruit in Egypt, and it's so popular. But in Sri Lanka, they put spices. And
spicy mango.
Even in India.
Yeah.
In India.
Yeah.
I don't eat spicy food, so like a few days ago I ate spicy mango instead. It was not a good experience for me.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up thinking coconut was like shredded, dry, white flakes,
I don't like it.
you know?
But
Which
once you
is
eat it,
not what it is. Yeah.
Thai food just tastes different.
Or coconut water. I mean, it was like revelation for me to drink a coconut for the first time.
And speaking of food, the reason I started liking sushi is when I tasted it on my travels. When you go back to Egypt, it's now starting to become famous, you know, to eat raw fish, raw shrimp, raw fun. Before that, oh shit, it's raw, how could you eat it? So yeah, the more you travel, as Lily is a living example, the more you accept, your palate just develops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's different, like coconut, we just talking about coconut, coconut has always been present in my life when I was growing up in Mauritius, but I had never had coconut water until probably I was 15, just because it just happened to be there. We had mango trees. I mean, I haven't had mango until I came to Dubai. Although we had like, you know, fruits, like every year the trees were actually reaping the fruits. And I think looking at cuisine, the different uses from, you know, Asia versus, you know, Mauritius is very different. Like in Mauritius is more dessert driven, less, you know, main meal driven. In Asia it's more like the coconut milk in the soups, and then, you know, the laksa or the tom yum version. And I think places where they grow the most, people try to make it a source of life. Even the very straw of it, they actually make crafts with it, and you know.
It's such an interesting fruit or
very
whatever it is.
It is, yeah.
I love that when there's so many uses for something.
We were talking.
Everybody has to eat.
Everyone is eating, so everyone is.
Luckily, this is my normal dinner time, so I'm like, okay, I'm ready to eat.
So Julie, what do you
She said she's a manager.
Yeah, manager where? No, out of curiosity, just to get to know you.
I'm working in the airport.
Nice.
Actually, I come from hospitality background, so I was working only in hotels since I was 16. I was working like for holidays, like I knew it was my passion. So yes, I worked in hospitality for like around 10 years, like, and then I finished like in Paris with a job in finance auditor, and I was like hating it. That was really good because I was traveling over Europe. However, it was so boring. It was not me anymore.
For how long you did that?
Almost 2 years.
Okay.
And
Can you have the tahina, please?
yeah, I was like, okay, I need to go back abroad. I need to live new experience, a fresh new start, and back to operation. And so I was just looking for any opportunity.
tahina?
I didn't care about which country. I was just open to new things anywhere. And so I found this company. So basically, we are operating spa in airport. So and then they offered me this position here. So
Spa in the airport.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I
Okay.
guess it's Dubai airport.
yes.
Obviously.
The like the VIP lounge.
Emirates Lounge, right?
It's not in the lounge, it's in the duty-free area.
For people maybe they're coming through Dubai,
flights.
traveling long flights.
Yeah, when you come from Dubai. So yeah.
Interesting.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
it's really interesting. It's very different from what I've done before. I'm learning a lot. And especially about human, like people. Because this is also my first position of manager and I have 70 staff, so it's kind of complicated.
70?
Yeah.
Oh
it's
my
very
God.
challenging.
Wow.
You manage 70, the same kind, the same thing you manage like 5 or 6 people. So yeah.
And what's
Maybe
also
a
maybe
bit better.
different. Sorry for the interruption. The kind of people who actually come, they are traveling. They're travelers. They're not in the mood of building or establishing sustainable relationships. Just want to get them aside and then leave.
Yeah. But actually, we do have some regulars that because Dubai is also like
It's a hub.
like, and so we do have a lot of people traveling over the Middle East for business, and Middle East is like it's a business like
Yeah.
from one country to another, people are traveling a lot, and yeah, we do have some regulars from that people who travel into Middle East, but also from all over the world.
I mean, I always need a good massage.
Of course,
Always is a good massage. Especially if you're going back to the US directly.
Oh my gosh.
17 hours of
I'm like saving my points just so I can upgrade to business. Yeah. And I've been saving them for more than 2 years.
Seriously.
I'm hoping I'll probably have to like use all my points and then pay $200 or $300 more just to upgrade to business. But I think it's going to be worth it in the end. Guys, there's one piece of cauliflower left. Like, someone has to eat it. One piece.
But it depends on who else wants it.
Go for it.
I think it should be you.
Cauliflower piece.
That was very yummy. Thank
I
you.
think it should be you. You are welcome.
Speaking of jobs, I don't know if this falls on stereotyping as well. I'm working into an what did it call it? Male-dominated industry, which is gas engineering.
Oh.
So basically, I'm the only female in the meetings for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. So the thing is, for people who actually don't know you, you're not on a good position. Before that, and once you go in a meeting, people by default assume you're gonna take a minute, you could get them to speak. All the trivial stuff, right? And then when you try to say your opinion in a meeting of something, because there's some men, right? They raise their voice, and you can't do the same, unfortunately. So the whole point of you're a lady in a male-dominated industry, you cannot do this. Oh, she's gonna cry now. Blah. It's just too much to beat the idea that no, I studied engineering as well. I can do this.
It's funny you say that because I just had a conversation yesterday with my mom. And she said, I'm in banking by the way. So she
I'm
said
just
to
coming
me
closer
that,
to you
oh,
guys.
yeah, it was a great year and so on and so forth, but there's only one thing. I mean, you're doing great basically. There's just only one thing that you have to be conscious of. And that is, your ability to like the perseverance.
Okay.
So I said, what do you mean? She's like, when you want, see, the guys on top of you love you, right? But when you need to align people to get something done, sometimes you can ruffle them. Well, if someone isn't like isn't productive enough, isn't like, isn't able to deliver, for example, it's obvious that, that you feel that that person needs a bit of a push, a bit of like hand holding and so on.
Yeah.
And I mean, long story short, it was a good conversation, but at the end, she actually did say it, and she said that, you know what, if it was a man, they would actually say that you are a powerful and a very assertive man, but unfortunately, honey,
You're a woman.
you're a woman.
So you know that.
So this exact same behavior
Exactly.
is now
Being
defined as being
translated.
too annoying and nagging.
And aggressive?
Yeah, aggressive
And bossy
nagging.
and-
And bossy and nagging. And
Not
if
very
it was a
good.
man, however,
It's fine.
his cards
It's
would be
accepted.
perfect.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
It's annoying.
It's a reality. I mean, if you actually, it's not like, how do I say, like something that is implicit. It's actually on the table.
Yeah,
It is a
it's
fact.
open.
It's
Yeah,
a
they
fact.
talk about it openly. I used to work in the management consultancy industry, and I used to send emails, and I would get a response that we're not going to reply to you because, if the emails were sent by X, who was
We
a
would
guy
reply to
and
them.
who was less hardworking, was less, I'm not in a position to judge people, was less intelligent, less qualified than me,
But still,
then he's the one who
man.
would get the response. And so I stayed for 3 years fighting that was to me very annoying, to a level that I felt I was just wasting my energy, and I then just made up my mind to
And the thing is, you
Call
focus
it a
lot,
night.
you don't focus on working much as oh shit, the image I have,
Managing that.
the managing, that's that situation. It's just annoying.
If I can say a story about the stereotyping, this inequality between men and women in the workplace was one of my first shocks when I went to UK.
Okay.
You always have this stereotype idea about the Western world and how we are the equality.
Equal.
My background, my mother is a professor at the university.
Inshallah.
And usually in the public sector, men and women pay the same. It's one of the things that we still have it since the socialism in the 1960s. She was a professor, and the dean of the university was a woman. In my school, women were always the managers. And everybody like in public sector get paid the same. It depends on the level or the seniority or which job you are doing. So if there is a list and you have this job, you get paid this. Doesn't matter if you are a man or woman. And then I traveled to UK and I discovered this inequality. And by the time I couldn't understand how someone can make a comment to someone else based on his sex, or just not to get promoted because she's a woman. So this is one of the stereotyping things that was like when I traveled to UK, which is
You found that they have the same there?
Oh,
Or
you
no?
didn't expect
You
it to
didn't
be.
expect
no, I
it to
didn't
be that.
expect. I didn't expect.
Oh, okay.
Because we don't have this. I mean, my mother's a professor. My father was working abroad, and you wake up at 6 a.m. to go to school. My mom wake me up, and after I take a bus, she prepared herself to go to university. She's teaching there. She's doing a master, and then she's doing a PhD, and she's teaching for kids. She's teaching also for master and PhD students, men and women. And you see her like signing the exams, going to the hospitals because she was like
A doctor?
No, she was hospital
Supervising.
management. Also
Uh-huh.
a doctor, like a professor in hospital management. And it's normal. If I went to her office, I can see her like sitting with a guy like taller than her with a mustache and like so big. And she's like shouting at him because he's making a mistake, stupid mistakes. But she was a really nice person.
Alhamdulillah.
She was so tough when it comes to
Work
to-
responsibilities,
She
yeah.
wants to. She wants her students to be the best. And then I traveled to UK. You have all these stereotype ideas about that they have equality, because you always hear about the situation of women in the Middle East and North Africa, blah 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 blah, and all the stereotypic things that they say in the beginning. And then I traveled abroad and discovered, oh my gosh, you have inequality in salaries. Seriously? Women get paid because they paid less because they are women.
You mean in public sector or irrespective?
It's in both.
No, it's
Like,
a,
it's
yeah,
in both.
it's a respectable,
It's
it's
in both.
proven.
In the U.S., we have a
Yeah, because
probably,
in the university-
probably one of the biggest problems is in
Yeah,
the
because the
U.S.
university, the university discovered that the professors, the women,
uh-huh.
they get paid less than the men.
Oh my god.
Just by virtue of, you can get
And-
away. She probably has a husband who's paying, who's bringing in money.
Yeah.
So, you know,
She
probably
knows
doesn't
that's
need
how
She has
as
kids.
much money.
Or it happens unconsciously of you undervalue. You don't even think about it, but you undervalue.
I
the woman
feel
over
it's
the
coming
man,
from the subconscious,
you
yes.
know. Often like and we do have
And
the
we
issue
women,
of not,
how often we
of
doubt
not
our
not
capacity.
negotiating hard enough as well.
It's
But
very
even if we
bad.
negotiate a lot, it is perceived, as you said, as a bit. Oh,
Yeah,
why is
she's
she?
being difficult. She's
Why,
being-
do we want to hire this
She's
person? Like she's
Exactly.
really pushy. She is
Yeah.
like this.
She brags
So-
a lot about what she's doing. Although if he's doing the same thing, he would be doing the thing.
So it's tough. You're in a tough spot because you know they're probably underpay,
Yeah.
under offering to you, and you want to counter, but you don't want to seem pushy. So you want them to hire you. So it's you go
Yeah,
back
but
and forth.
Also, comments about the clothes. I mean, in some work, and this was like really common in UK. The bosses like impose on the employee ladies to wear a specific clothes, like high heels, in the office. You know, in the office. Some kind of clothes, clothes in a particular way, just to attract the customers. Right? So it was really common to read in the UK newspapers about issues between the employee and their bosses because of their comments, or they were imposing particular uniform on their a lady that's suing her former employee, her former boss, because she had like a medical thing because she was imposing because of the high heels.
Yeah. They will destroy your feet.
Yeah, I no longer wear them, to be honest.
My
I
mom
stopped-
always said you should just wear shoes you can run away in.
This is when
You never
wash your
know.
clothes.
If you can't escape, don't wear it.
And it's so painful, I understand if you're attending a special event, like wedding function or something. But other than that, like every day, I stopped.
No, every day.
Like
is
now
not
I'm
good.
doing consultancy assignment with the government entity in Dubai, and I go in my sneakers. Like I'm professional.
Luckily, sneakers became so fashionable. now.
Yes.
You can wear them anywhere. You can wear your like incredibly stylish designer and then
Yeah.
designer sneaker also.
Yeah. The cherry on the top.
I feel like it didn't used to, like when we were younger, it didn't used to be that way.
It was more casual.
Are we eligible for some sweets?
Yes.
I just wanted to say, like,
Authentic.
when you talked about that, it reminded me that when I was young, and that was something that I realized was later out,
Yes.
is that
Maya.
there was a taboo around successful women. So we would always like upplay the men's achievements, role, and title. And if the woman was very successful and was contributing even financially and so on, we would actually downplay.
We
it
can
in society
continue,
because
please, huh?
It almost felt like the roles
Wanna have some
are
salad?
sometimes
Sure?
reversed, and it was like,
Well,
oh
I
no, but
don't
then
know.
it just sound
No,
right
Okay, I know.
to say this,
Even if she's successful, she will always be in a different lens than a man
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the woman's first priority should be her house. So if she's successful at work,
Yeah, so that's
her
to
house
be
will be somewhere
downplayed.
suffering.
So
Suffering.
that's to be downplayed.
Thank you, Muhammad.
You don't want her to overtake the role. But when you look at the reality, when you look at the reality, I
Just give it to me
my
and then
friends,
I'll put
when
it
I look
there.
at their moms, or they are the ones who actually are more
Grand.
successful in
Please take your time, please.
bringing us even financially or they
Because
are
we just want to make space for the
run
sweets.
the houses, some of the single mothers, and but it was never heard of, never said. My mom, she's just a teacher, she's not owned like I don't know whatever 10 schools. Or the other one, oh, she's just a banker. My dad.
Give you that?
And then we find out that it was actually the mom was feeding them.
You want to watch them? For the sweets? You okay?
But when
Yeah.
you go out society, you don't portray that. You don't see your mom as a banker. My dad was just
No, not yet. It's okay.
Oh, this is nice. Nice idea, huh? Like cutting board.
I feel it is my industry.
Wanna serve it?
Let me the manager to talk to I am.
actually going to save these for stock, so I'm going to put it back.
Someone in first grade, right? They're like, let me explain.
Yeah.
Let me explain.
Put this stuff away.
Like 10 more minutes just to finish the sweets and then that's it, okay?
Okay.
Actually, it's a good time to be a woman, if you think about it. There's a lot of drive, a lot of, to actually promote women just because of these facts, So if you think about like, okay, it's the right time to be a woman to want to grow and be somewhere.
Is there like a direct benefit of what you've experienced maybe 10 years ago to
Yes,
now?
of course. Well, other women who have actually, or maybe no, I haven't experienced a lot that, for example, the woman in banking was experiencing, for 30 years ago when she was the only one walking on a trading floor, and
Of course.
they've all gone through different, they molded differently. I think they also contributed to the change that's happening today and allowing us more opportunities and putting in these policies that, okay, at the top level, as people grow and go to the top level, how come on a team of 10 there's like one woman? Why is it that at the bottom they're all sticking at the bottom? What is going on? So who opened that Pandora? So who started to actually look into these things?
You think it is because of the globalization or?
This is nice. There is.
This is a very special thing I'll have to explain to you. But I want to interrupt.
So,
Not this one.
Globalization, I don't know if it's globalization, but there's a few factors.
We
One
can
is
just do
a woman
napkins.
being a woman biologically. So as let's say you go out of university at like 21, 22, you not necessarily, not all. For example, you're more driven to like starting to work now. It's very interesting. It's my priority. I'd like to know. I'd like to grow and work. And then as you get 25, 26, 27, and you start thinking, oh, I actually, you know what? I love work, but I want to have a family. I want to have kids,
Yes.
So you start thinking different, your priorities change. So by that time, however, you've grown in the organization. But as your priorities change, what happens is you drop out because you get married and you have kids and so on and so forth. So, it's like the pyramid. So as they grow, a lot of women, biologically by that time, because of the age factor, as you grow, it's a realization or it's a phase where, okay, motherhood comes in, for example, or they want to get married, or they're like, okay, my career is now number 2. That's number 1. Number 2 is the lack of self-confidence that they could get to that level. So many times speaking to like successful men, they can tell you, and they will tell you, Nadia, you need to know exactly where you want to be. I don't know where I want to be. I know, and I've said it as a man, for example, not me, I've said it, I would like to be the CEO in the Middle East in 10 years. That is my direct target. I don't know that, for example. Or their confidence is more than women. So if they find a job like a CEO, a guy who is 2, 3, 4, 5 levels below the CEO will still
Have the
psychologically,
aspiration.
he will have that gut to say, screw it, I'll just put in my application, I'll talk through it, I don't care. A woman will think, I'm 1 level down, what is it that I'm missing? Not even 4 or 5.
True.
I don't think I can do this role because I'm missing X. That person has the skill to do Y, I don't have Y. I need more time to get ready, and so there is that difference with
way of thinking, the way you perceive your capacity also.
Because the thing is, we as women are perfectionists.
We're perfectionists, and the society
That's
has
wrong.
taught us to be like that,
Which
right?
is
Like
wrong.
you have to be this, you have to be that, you have to think, you have to, you can't just jump, you have to, don't be impulsive, don't be this, don't be that. It's innate as well. So when it comes to those really big decisions, then you're like, okay, whatever's
Too
supposed to happen
hesitant.
it will come anyway. No, you have to fight for it. You actually have to go and apply for that job. You have to talk to that person and say, I want a bigger pay, I want another job.
And then
If
it
I
will
do that
come,
one-
but you
and
made
then
it,
will come,
you
yeah.
know, you
It's
made
not
it
a case
happen.
of like, okay, I'm happy with what I have. If I work hard enough, they're actually going to give it to me. Never happens. And the men don't. I have colleagues, like male colleagues, who told me, I was so shocked. They were like, I actually told my boss what bonus I want next year. I was like, what? I never did that. Absolutely never. I was like, what? He's like, well, they do give me a target, don't they? It's a number, right? Well, I have a number too. I swear. I was like, how does that conversation go exactly? He's like, yeah. So if they tell me you need to grow sales by like 5%, I will, of course, knowing myself, and as a man, he says that, knowing myself, I know that this year I can make 10%. I will actually tell them, you want 5%? I'm going to bring you 10% this year. However, please don't come with a bonus of less than X thousand dirham. It's 100,000 dirham. You know, and I was like, okay, so where does that conversation go? Like, I just try my luck. Okay, if I don't get my whatever 150,000 dirham bonus, at least I'll get 100. I don't care. But I would never think like that. I would never think that, you know.
I would never think of this.
Yeah. Just like,
I'm a man. I would
where
never
does
think
this
of
come from?
where he's coming from. You should give me his number.
Okay,
This is the
not edible.
I think historically speaking, women played a really, really vital role to where we came today in this world, of course. Especially if we talk about U.S. history. So in early 1900, you see a lot of because of the women, all the industrialization happened, and then the baby boomers and everything. So I think in past couple of decades, only probably 2-3 decades, somewhere along the line, I think people subjected women to all these things, I think. And now women are taking it back.
Biggest example, Hillary Clinton going for election.
Yeah.
Who would imagine?
Yeah.
That's the biggest example.
But I think in that point, if we came back to the original topic, which is stereotype, we don't think a lot, or we have to mention that the role of the gender when it comes to stereotype. So lots of societies, we get lots of stereotype about societies through their women. So for Orientalists, you can go to the museum and see the old amazing portraits, but always look at the portraits with the women. You will always see in the Orientals art that the women are always in the harem, or she is naked, and having this look. When you see it, you always see this always naked women look at you. And at that time, they didn't have like media, they didn't have TV or radio. So this was the media. And this is how they made other the West, in particular in Europe, get interested in the East. It's through the gender. They always think about the harem, the women, that the men have lots of women, the public bath, and through this gender or sex ideas, they draw this stereotype idea or image about the societies. And it's the same for the societies in the Far East. You will see that how the gender played a very important and crucial role in drawing the stereotype ideas about other societies. And then it led to colonization later.
That's a very deep talk. We're coming to the end of the experience. We'll just have the sweets. Thank you so much.
Let me explain.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Chocolate salami. Okay?
Salami.
So it's not really pork. So in Bologna, where my family lives now, my sister's living there full time, and my parents live there part time. They go back between U.S. and Italy. The most important thing is pork, for sure. So they have the salami, they have the mortadella, they have the prosciutto, they have all like 20 types of different ways to eat this type of meat, you know? And they invented the dessert way, which is with chocolate. Yeah. So this is like one round sort of thick slice of a large chocolate salami that they make. They make out of chocolate with some, crunchy maybe cookie pieces. And then sell it, and it's very popular, especially like around Christmas time. So when I was just back there a couple weeks ago, I picked this up, and I thought, I've never tried it actually. I've never had it.
Yourself.
So we can be surprised, I guess, together. What it tastes like. But
please.
This is chocolate chips.
It's basically chocolate, kind of a bit cakey, perhaps, or biscuity with some biscuit pieces inside.
Not chocolate.
Please.
No, it's hard.
I don't care.
He's like, I don't know, it's just dessert. I don't care what it is.
It looks like the budge.
Or this lazy cake. We have something similar. It looks like lazy cake.
So nice.
It's Italian, so it's a high quality standard.
I would like to say something really. When you come to this experience, Zaha, and you see Lily the cooker, please come. She's the best one.
Yeah, but I'm really interested in research and analysis, so I need to analyze what I'm eating.
Different opinion, different ways. Okay.
So why would you call it Zaha? I know
Zaha
Zaha's the Iraqi architect.
Zaha.
Zaha Hadid.
Oh, and
it's-
also Asma do something good, very very good. I'm sorry.
I'm not
sorry.
It's okay.
Backwards.
I have a big heart and I
Very
can
nice.
I can
You
take
can
that.
Very nice.
I can take that. So Zaha is the name of my grandmother, who's 90 now, 95 has become, and she looks after herself by herself. She still wakes up early in the morning. She goes and looks after her land, and she's full of life.
When did she was born? It's 95, right?
This is kind of an estimate of her age, by the way,
Okay.
because people back then they didn't issue actually birth certificate.
Sometime in the 20s, maybe.
Yeah.
So so with her appetite for life, I hope I can explore more of this world. And in Arabic, it means the growth journey. When you plant something, it grows and blossoms. And this is basically what happened to us tonight, at least to myself. When we listen to each other, attentively, and we get to know or bond over who we are rather than based on our general understanding of who we are. We can only grow together, and this is why we called it Zaha.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I am really, when I just can hear it, I say I'm fine. I say I am eating something before. But when I just I came here, I found really the food is so tasty. The green foods.
The salads and
yeah. I have that spices, not much, but it's okay.
it's
So-
okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Thank you. It's okay. It's okay. I'm glad.
I'm really sorry. I just try to say something.
Just be yourself.
You can just say it in
back.
Arabic.
So you're saying
No, I would like to understand English and to learn it actually.
But sometimes in Arabic, Arabic is very rich. Sometimes some words won't be translated.
It's okay, fine.
yeah, but he can convey the message and we're listening, so please
Yeah.
carry on.
So just when I start eating, it's really delicious and looks like I am in die, and after I finish the food I am wake up. I don't know what to call it. Really.
You're
just like
feeling
really
me.
focused.
You were not listening.
You know?
You were not listening.
Welcome back.
I don't hear.
Oh my God.
This is,
It's not about listening.
Uh-huh.
You see, we say Snickers when you are eating.
We woke his soul.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
he said in the Egyptian ways, like death can come in back after life.
When we are say some words, I really hear it the first time. Sometimes I hear some words and I go to Google Translate and I understand it. This is the way to.
Yeah.
Learning.
Some,
Yeah, that's right.
I
The only
still
way.
learn it this way, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah.
If anyone has
But-
more sweet tooth, this is English toffee. I think some of you are familiar with it.
Of course.
It's with caramel and chocolate. It's pretty good as well.
So I just have a very interesting question for you, Muhammad. You only come for the food. Thank you.
It's not the food is
فتحت
very
نفسك بقى.
sometimes. I don't know.
Because we have other forms of Zaha Experience, so you wouldn't be attending the other Zaha Experiences?
It will happen. It will
This is
happen.
his fourth.
It will happen.
As I'm working like sometimes 10 hours, sometimes 12 hours.
Mhm.
So I don't have really time. I just come from vacation, so the work is less now,
Mhm.
so I can attend.
Mhm.
This is the situation. But if I come when they are eating, it's not my fault. I just come and you have this one now.
Ah,
So
I'm just
that's
teasing
the point.
you.
I'm sorry for that.
No, don't be sorry.
So that's the point only.
Thank
But,
you.
Did you come because the metro is near?
No, he drives.
When you're here.
Okay.
He
There is
drives.
actually there is. It's only like 5 minutes.
That's the end of the experience.
Into the tunnel for Dubai Mall Metro. Then of course you have to go through the whole tunnel.
Yeah.
No, half the tunnel. So it's a
Yeah.
bit better. But in the summertime you can access it. Quickly go inside, like where the air conditioning is. So, anyway, but the
Yeah, the
timer has
alarm.
gone off, which is very strict. That means that we have to conclude, even though you're, of course, welcome to keep chatting in the hallway and,
No
and in the
worries.
group. But we have to take a photo.
Yeah, he will take a
We have
group
to take a
photo.
Yeah.
We'll have a group photo. Thank you so much
Can we rotate around?
for sharing.
Yes.
Yeah, of
Before
course.
the photo. Okay, so
Part of who you are.
Exactly, I don't know what I have to say, but it's really amazing, just amazing. I cannot say other words rather than that. I don't have anything in my mind to say, just this word, because it's really amazing, just that.
Attending experiences like this really gets me super excited. I feel really connected and I enjoy every bit of this experience. And I can't wait to experience many more to come. Thank you.
So it's really great to host experiences. For me, it's my third one, and it's always amazing. It's always different. This one, I feel like we had some newbies, which was really great to see the new people coming in. They don't know anything about it, and we talked about how people can stereotype you. So I always learn something new from everything that we talk about and everything that people say. And it's enjoyable, but it also opens your mind, which is great.
Hi, it's my first time here in Zaha Experience. I would like to thank Asma for being kind enough to invite me. And I would like to thank our hosts, Liliana, and her delicious food. It was amazing. And the discussion was really fruitful, and I will definitely join other experiences by Zaha Experience. Thank you.